everybody, welcome to Boom Mountain Sports. I'm Riley.
I'm Logan.
And today we're going to be doing some ski comparisons of our personal favorite 88 millimeter waisted skis. Today we have the Atomic Maverick 88, the Kendo 88, and the Stokely Storm Rider 88. You can kind of close your eyes and do a little eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and you're not going to make a bad decision, but we're here to help you maybe make the best decision for your skiing style.
Navigate the three skis that we got. I like that idea.
Yep.
And I kind of think this is a pretty good comparison, actually, to tell you the truth, because they all have different attributes. I'm sure you've all heard of these at some sort if you've been looking at skiing magazines in any sort of fashion. So if we just want to kick it off, we can start with the 88 from Atomic called the Maverick. This one is a pretty remarkable ski, actually. Design came to market about 3 years ago and hasn't really changed. They kind of hit it out of the park,
Yeah.
from the get-go.
Definitely.
My brother and I actually were part of the development group out of the United States that helped develop this ski. This was the first, the Maverick series was the first American-led design and Austrian build.
Yeah, North American. So that included Canada, actually.
So it was a pretty cool project, and the 88 we were really excited about. In comparison to the other ones in this family, this one is going to be that little bit most powerful, right? It's going to be on edge from tip to tail, holds incredibly well, great at speed. But the one thing that Atomic wanted to do is kind of like open it up to a little bit more all mountain skiing as well. So Chris Ben Shetler has this Horizon Tech that came out with his Ben Shetler series, and that went down the entire series of the Maverick. So in the tip right here you have these just kind of finned out, a little bit more of a beveled out tip to help with your flotation, right? A little bit more supple in the tip for a little bit better flotation, and then 2 sheets of metal all the way through and a pretty elongated camber profile to help with poppiness and edge control.
The 88 actually has a remarkable camber profile. It's kind of absolutely insane. Woo! Ew. So the 88 has the most aggressive camber profile and the least amount of early rise, but as you can tell, there's still a little bit of early rise in the shovel and a little bit in the tail with kind of a pinner tail. The construction too is like really simple. It's just poplar. Poplar's light, it's poppy, it's playful, it's kind of everything that it sounds like. And like Logan was saying, being reinforced with 2 sheets of metal, it's very stable and you don't sacrifice any of that speed or performance. But if you were looking for an incredibly lightweight, easy skiing, fun carving with the ability to explore a little bit of the mountain, this is a great option and it's bang for buck. I think Atomic, as Logan said, nailed it out of the park. Being a North American led project, this is built for a lot of our mountains. East Coast, West Coast, here in Colorado, the Rockies region. It's kind of a, no matter what region you're in, they built a dimension for you. So being 88 or 95 or 100. But yeah, super lightweight, super.
That was the one thing I'm really glad you pointed out, like in comparison to the next couple that we're going to talk about.
Yep.
You know, this thing, bang for buck number one. I mean, you are coming out at like 649. You know, with this thing, but lightness is pretty remarkable. So come touch it, feel it, and really feel how light it is. But you're not sacrificing its aggressiveness because of that.
Yep.
You know, which is one thing that can happen when you start to go lighter with any sort of skis.
Yep.
Sweet. So then let's touch a little bit of base on the 88 Volkl.
Yeah.
And then let's do a little comparison.
So this is just kind of like your next step up in being a little bit more aggressive, being a little bit heavier, and maybe allowing you to ski a little bit faster with bigger radiuses. So the Volkl Kendo 88, this was a brand new design as of 3 years ago as well. They changed some stuff from the old Kendo. This is a poplar beech core. So instead of just poplar, they add some beech. Beech is gonna be a little bit stouter and stiffer. So a mix of 2 woods that really complement each other. And instead of 2 full sheets of metal, like the Maverick, it's actually 2 sheets of metal around the space frame. So around the frame and the shovel, 2 full sheets right underfoot, and then around the frame and the tail. So they cut out the metal in the center of the tips and in the tails to reduce that swing weight. So you get that maneuverability and quickness when you need to. But when you do put it up on edge, it's 2 full sheets from tip to tail, which just gives you all the power in the world. And you can kind of scare yourself with speed on this thing, but it is not required to because of 3D radius. You want to chat about the 3D radius?
Sure, 3D radius is kind of what makes the this series kind of stand out. Volkl has a series of the 88, a 96, and a 102, and this radius kind of goes throughout the entire family. But what that's consisting of is kind of a little bit of a radius in your tip profile, a radius underfoot, and a radius in your tail. Now you're going to ask yourself, how do you do that when you just have 3 dimensions to a ski?
You're German.
That's the crazy part. So a little bit has to do with kind of your weight, how your weight is distributed on your ski when you're actually skiing it. Yeah. Okay, so it kind of comes down to a little bit of a actual profile of the ski and how it lays on the snow and where you're pressing, if you're pressing it into the tip or under your foot or even out of the tail. So that's what's going to allow you to kind of get into that little bit shorter radius, which is going to be, the shortest radius is going to be under your foot, and your longest radius is going to be your tip and your tail, all depending on your weight distribution. And this is one of those things that you can, might be like hocus pocus, or I don't believe it. And we were one of those people too. Like, hoo-ah, 3D radius, what's that going to do? But when you get on this thing, you can really feel these different radiuses and what they want to do. It's pretty cool. You can have a long one, you can have a short one, you can dice it up. They become super versatile skis on the mountain.
Yeah.
And like in comparison to like the Atomic, for example, I would go as far as say this is a little more versatile of a ski. It's going to do a little bit more for you. You're going to have more options in the turn radius and the turn shape that you want to do on the mountain because of how they have their space frame that went around and lightened that swing weight. It is actually incredibly nimble in bumps. Incredibly nimble everywhere, and you can really toss it on edge, no problem.
Yeah.
But a little bit more of an aggressive ski.
Absolutely, especially with the added beach core.
Totally.
It makes it a little bit stouter, but it doesn't ski stouter. I mean by heavier, but it doesn't necessarily ski too heavy.
No, it doesn't feel like that at all on the snow.
Yeah.
Like you might be on the lift and you're like, this is a Volkl.
Yeah.
But then you get off and it just dances down the mountain.
And just to touch back on the 3D radius, like as Logan was mentioning, where you're positioning your weight, it's not all just in the side cut, so the shape of the ski, but it's that 3D radius is really by this early rise profile. So you can see that when you're standing on the ski, I mean, the shovel leaves the snowpack like clear down here. It's really subtle, but when you drive your boots forward and you compress this tip, you just elongate because you're increasing the amount of effective surface area on the snow. And if you want to shorten it up, you stand up a little bit, reduce the amount of effective surface area, and just kind of pivot. So this thing is a remarkable ski. I think Volkl personally is killing it.
Well, it's their 100 year, so
yeah.
They've been around for 100 years. They do know what they're talking about. But within this series, it's done a lot of bit of this and this and this and this. Mm-hmm. And right now, I think they're totally on an upswing.
Yep. I did want to say we're not big car people, but I do like to relate some of this stuff to cars. You have your Toyotas, which will just run forever. Like they're just awesome cars. And then you kind of bump up to like your German cars, right? And your German cars just drive a little bit heavier, a little bit heavier, a little bit like quicker reaction.
A little better.
Yeah, and then just like maybe a little bit more power,
No, I think it's a good comparison.
And then I think you bump it up to like your Porsches and your BMWs and your Ferraris, and that just leads us into the talk of talks.
Yes, and as we kind of butter you up to like our favorite, obviously, right? But
butter you up.
The Stokely Storm Rider 88. This is going to be your Porsche of these 3 skis.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
The ski ability of this thing is unbelievable. It definitely is a skier's ski, right? Like I think these 2 you can kind of get away, with being a little bit more lazy, as you're like kind of progressing as a skier, so on and so forth. You get into the Stokely, I think it really you've made it, and It's going to do what you want it to do. It's going to enter turn certain ways. It's going to exit certain ways.
With the least amount of effort, too.
Totally.
You know?
That's true.
Yep.
I would agree with that.
So the Storm Rider 88, this construction is really cool. They're using some amazing woods. It's a balsa fuma core. So balsa is like your stouter, stiffer wood, and fuma is like your lightweight wood. It's reinforced with...
Scratch that, reverse it.
Oh, fuma is fuma is your stouter wood.
Yeah.
Balsa is your lighter weight wood. And it is reinforced with 2 full sheets of metal, with one of the sheets being your brushed top sheet, which just gives it that really beautiful sheen. And it looks really good on a lift, and it looks even better while you're skiing.
And that's kind of like I'm not really sure what's proprietary to Stokely, but they're really the only ones that have a brushed top sheet, period.
Yeah, they do have proprietary technology in that they thin the tips in the tails, not only in the core, but they also thin and mill their metal. So like if you compare the profile of the sidewall in the shovels, you can see how much thicker Volkl is to Stokely. So Volkl's cutting out of the metal, Stokely just mills it. So it's lighter and it skis just as stout, right? And that kind of leads into the next conversation of the shape of the ski.
And the precision aspect, the easeability of the skiing,
right,
of how this can ski on the snow.
Yep, correct.
Sure.
So like in the shape, it's a very defined side cut, right? It's definitely a wider shovel, narrower waist, and this is my favorite. It's a really pronounced flared out tail, and that flare happens right at the contact point, right, of the snow. And how that translates to skiing is the initiation is really smooth and supple, and then the camber profile holds that carve really well along with the 2 sheets of metal, and you'll feel this tail just like come all the way around and kick. It's like you feel the kick, and it just like sends the ski right under your foot, and it's so smooth. And obviously in the 184, you're at a 20.6 meter radius. So it's longer in this length. Mm-hmm. We usually ski this thing in the 77,
78, something like that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Which you bump down to like an 18 meter radius on that thing, which is just versatile. But this is like your great, better, and best option. And you'll pay for it here, but we like to like sell this with caution tape.
You get what you pay for with that one.
Yeah,
100%.
You'll never go back to other stuff.
So there's some great options in the 88 world. Obviously, there's a big world of skis out there. We handpicked these ones for our shop because of, one thing, price point, ski ability, and overall fun, because it's smiles for miles.
Yeah, smiles.
Miles per hour.
Smiles per hour. Yeah,
that's what it's all about.
We like that, smiles per hour.
Yeah. So come on down to Boom Mountain Sports if you're interested in that sort of ways to ski, a good front side all mountain. We're here for any of your questions.
Feel free to call, check us out online, like and subscribe, and check us out on the socials because Andrew's pretty funny. Dude, get out of the shot. We forgot. Yeah, we forgot to say.
There's one thing about 88 that is incredibly important that I feel like most people, especially in Colorado, for example, are always going to like that mid 90s to even over 100. Yeah. And I think that they bypass how versatile and how great this dimension is at 88.
It's not just an East Coast ski. All of us we all have one of these in our quiver.
So don't bypass an 88 because it's what you read, because it's just a front side ski.
And it's also bypassed by shops a lot of the time too.
Yep.
So there is a lot of 88 makes a lot of sense for a lot of people for a lot of the mountain.
Yeah, especially in Colorado and the Rockies regions.
Yeah,
You know,
we're not always
sure.
skiing 2 feet of POW, even though we like to think we're going to
These
be
skis
this
are
winter.
a little bit easier to rock up on edge, a little better on the body, easier, and great for early season.
And
You know.
still crush it when there's like it's a 4-inch storm. Or
Yeah, 6-inch
we
storm.
get a
We
lot.
did
We
that.
get a lot of 2 to 4-inch storms here in Colorado, and that's where these are really fun.
Yeah.
To be quite honest. So.
No, they're great.
Yep.
Cool.
All right, Andrew, and cameo back.
Oh, yeah.